Welcome to Cuphead. One of the best indie games of all time. And it's in the top 10 best video games in 2017 history according to IMDb. When Cuphead first released at September 29th of 2017, the game blew up. Many popular YouTubers have played this game, including the DLC, which released at June 30, 2022, and many YouTubers coming back for nostalgia. But then after that, Cuphead hasn't been heard for years. But then I decided to come back to the golden days of Cuphead and come back to beat the game. No challenges, just a normal gameplay of Cuphead. So let's dive into my experience of playing Cuphead. We begin the origin of Cuphead. Cuphead and Mugman are playing around and then they decided to go gambling since Elder Kettle is fucking asleep. Anyways, the boys are actually really lucky, but of course, when you are getting too lucky, you would become addicted. And then they made a deal with the devil himself, which we all know what happens here. Cuphead and Mugman are begging for mercy for the devil to not take their souls. And by the cup gods, the devil actually give them a chance, but they have to collect souls, so the devil won't take theirs. Let the adventure begin. Aisle 1 has 2 running guns and 6 different bosses like the Root Pack, Gooply La Grande, Ribby and Croaks, Hilla the Bird, and Katney Carnation. Even though I haven't played the game in years, Aisle 1 was a cakewalk. The first running gun, Forest Follies, was no problem at all, and I beat it at my first try. Then I go to the shop to buy the spread shot and the smoke bomb. Then I go to my first boss to fight the Root Pack. The first phase was the potato who just shoots dirt balls and 1 earthworm, which you can easily parry the earthworm. And he's also really easy to defeat. Next phase is the onion, which he cries a lot and just tears tries to hit you, which was also very easy even though I got hit by it, but he's still really easy to defeat. Next is the carrot, which he shoots psychic beams and flying carrots which will hit you, but it wasn't that much of a problem because again, I also beaten him easily. The first soul contract has been secured, and the next one is Glooply La Grande. All he does is bounce around like a bouncy ball and he turns into a boxing glove. While I was editing, I just realized that he does transform into a boxing glove, which I never knew until now. But anyways, back to the video. Which I beat his first phase very easily. But his second phase is the same thing, which he just got bigger. He does the same thing. He bounces around. His hand actually throws a boxing glove, which I also defeated easily. And then his final phase turns into a tombstone, which he just wants to crush me like a fucking pancake. But it wasn't a problem at all, which I defeat him with my first try again. So far, both bosses I beat very easily by my first try, but then the course of the video, you will see me rage and also try to defeat the bosses I hate the most. But we'll get to that later. Anyways, I got my first super art and the best super art ever. Next soul is Ribby and Croaks, which I did struggle a bit while I used my energy blast, and then I got hit by the spikes. Yeah, let's go for it. shit! Oh, you gotta be kidding me. I was this close. Cuphead's nose is touching the goddamn flag. Yeah, that was my first death ever. And then 2 more tries later, I was able to defeat that slot machine, even though I got hit before he died, which I would have had a perfect run. And then I learned how to fly a plane, and now it's time for the next boss is Hilda Berg, which she is the hardest boss in my opinion. She just sends her little purple bastards, which it wasn't much of a problem, and then she transforms into a ball. Sometimes, for whatever reason, I keep getting hit by it, which I don't know why. And then she transforms back and sends tornadoes, and then she transforms again into whatever a secretariat, and then the 2 chicks. And what she's done with transforming, she turns into a fucking half-red moon. For whatever reason, I didn't really think the UFO was the problem. The stars are the problem. But then I tried again, which I beat her easily. And then I wanted money, so I decided to go to the next run and gun, Treetop Trouble, which I absolutely despise. I used to struggle that run and gun level. I was imagining throwing my computer, but surprisingly, I beat it with only a couple of tries. And then the last boss in Aisle 1 is Catney Carnation. But before I go there, I decided to buy the Chaser. And yes, I know it's not a good shooter. And yes, I know that. But I only use the Chaser for the enemies, not the boss, even though I used it a couple of times on the boss. Anyways, while his first phase was easy, his second phase was not. But then I defeated him with only 1 or 2 tries. So surprisingly, Aisle 1 was very easily defeated, and Aisle 1 is completed. While Aisle 2 is not that easy as Aisle 1. You'll see why. Before I start, I forgot that my mic was off, and don't ask why. It was pretty embarrassing, so let's just move on. Aisle 2 will have 2 running guns and 5 different bosses, like Boundless Von Bonbon, Jimmy the Great, Beppy the Clown, Wally Worlds, and Grim Matchstick. And this is where I started to lose my goddamn mind. So the first boss was Barnius Von Bonbon, which will be the easiest boss in this aisle, so I beat her pretty easily. It's time for the next run and gun, Fun Fair Fever, which wasn't too bad, but the next run and gun will be hell. And I got my second super art, Invincibility, which is not the best super art, but it will be useful really soon. Anyways, the next boss is Jimmy the Great, which this is where I started to struggle. His first and second and third phase wasn't too bad, but his fourth phase, which is Pinocchio himself, I was dying over and over and over again, including when he turns into his final phase when he just turns giant. It wasn't even that easy. The eye pyramids is not as easy as I thought to dodge, because when you're stuck in a corner, you're dead. You are screwed when you get hit by it. In over 30 minutes, I was able to finally beat Jimmy the Great. And this is where I started to realize I regret saying that, this is gonna be a lot more easier than I thought. And then I got humbled because the next boss will take the longest out of all of them, which is Beppy the Clown, which is far more worse than I thought. The boss took a really long time since I keep dying really early, and his final phase was fucking awful. The penguins were annoying to deal with, and I was going crazy. And I wish you can hear my reaction since, well, my mic was off and I'm not gonna question that again. But I definitely say this. This clown can go fuck. Anyways, I was able to beat it at around 40 minutes. And trust me, things will get worse. Next is Wally Warbles, which was a lot more better than the genie and the goddamn clown. I beat it at like my second try, which I got cocky again, and I got humbled again because the next run and gun, Funhouse Frazzle, which wasn't fucking fun at all because I was thinking about committing arson. This run and gun level was probably the longest I took. Maybe, I'm not really sure. I don't care. If you're wondering, did I have any fun memories about? No, there wasn't at all because nothing good happened. I was going crazy for like around 40 minutes since I finally beat that goddamn run and gun, and I don't want to ever face that ever again. Oh, but don't worry. Aisle-free run and guns are gonna get even worse. Anyways, I decided to go to the final boss, which is Grim Matchstick. This is definitely the hardest boss in Aisle 2. His first and second phase wasn't hard at all. But when you get to his third phase, yep, this is what hell feels like. Because the third phase was really hard. I remember my first time playing this game, it took me over 2 hours to beat this goddamn dragon. This three-headed fuck took so long. I was actually about to go to the brink of insanity. But somehow this didn't took as long as I thought. It took me like almost 30 minutes. So thank God I didn't have that trauma again. But it's all thanks for me using the charge shot and the lobber shot. The charge shot is the best shot without the DLC. The lobbers are right, but sometimes usable when I need to. And Aisle 2 is finally completed. But Aisle 3, it's definitely going to be more harder than Aisle 2. But we are close, so I know we can do it. We got this. You know the drill. We have 2 run and guns and 7 different bosses, like Rumor Honeybottoms, Captain Brinybeard, Cala Maria, Dr. Kylie's Robot, Wormer Willman, Sally's Stage Play, and finally, Phantom Express. The first boss will be Rumor Honeybottoms, which was already a nightmare to deal with. The security bee was really annoying to deal with, and I keep getting killed by the dumbest ways possible. Her third phase was also not fun to handle at all, but I was able to beat her at around 30 minutes. The first boss already took a toll on me, so I was terrified of how I will able to beat the devil himself. But the second boss, Captain Brinybeard, which was a piece of cake. I beat him on my first try. After that win, I got more confidence. But then I went to the next run and gun, which is Rugged Ridge. And oh my god, this level took almost 1 hour while I was losing my goddamn mind. I even went to the next run and gun, Previous Peers, which was even more fucking worse than the first one. So I decided to go back. After switching my shots later, I was finally able to beat him. And next, I got my final super art, Giant Ghost, which I will never use ever. But then I decided to go back to Previous Peers, which took me around 40 goddamn minutes to beat. Get me the hell out of here, finally! Jesus Christ. And all the run and gun levels have all been defeated, and thank God. As you can tell, I hate run and gun levels. So while that's out the way, it's only boss fights now. So it's time for the next boss, Cala Maria. And this wasn't too much of a problem, except for her final phase, which I lost 3 HP, which wasn't great at all.
And how is she not dead? Fuck. Come on. What? The corals hit you?
But eventually, I was able to beat her in only a couple of minutes. And the next boss is Dr. Kylie's robot, which is the hardest boss in this aisle by a landslide. His first phase was already a fucking disaster to deal with.
Oh my god, that was awful.
His second phase wasn't an issue, but his final phase is just fucking spamming diamonds, which was really fucking annoying.
Oh my god. There's no way I can dodge that.
I almost have to restart this match, but thankfully I equipped an extra heart, and I was able to beat him at around 20 minutes, which I didn't know I beat him that quickly. But I'll take it. And the next boss is Werner Werman, which wasn't much of a problem because I beat him like only 2 or 3 tries. The next boss is Sally Stage Play, which is the easiest boss in this aisle in my opinion. But I didn't know why I was struggling with her for a couple of tries.
This is humiliating.
But I was able to beat her very easily as well. And the final boss in aisle 3 before facing the devil is Phantom Express, which took me a lot longer than I thought. They were not that hard at all.
This will... No. Wait, what? Oh, I hit his... Jesus Christ. Fucking do that. Oh, yeah, I'm dead. Yeah. Oh,
But after equipping the roundabout shot, I was able to beat it very easily. And the final aisle is done. And it's time for the endgame. It's time to dance with the devil. Two bosses, King Dice with 9 mini-bosses, and the devil himself. It's time. After all the obstacles I've gone through, it is time to roll the dice. While I was facing King Dice's mini-bosses, I was going crazy. Because this took a lot more longer than I thought, and I'll be honest, I was pretty goddamn angry about all of it because I can't beat King Dice. Except for one thing. So I decided to rub the genie lamp and grant me 3 extra HP, which will be far more easier, but that also took a long time. But after 40 something minutes later, I finally beat him.
Yes! Oh, finally. Oh, thank God.
And now it's time to face the devil himself. While he said that he wants us to join his team, well, I said, haha, no. I also decided to not rub the genie lamp for the devil's match because I think that I don't need 3 more extra lives to beat the devil because I want to face him with 3 lives only. It is time for the devil, and it took me the longest time ever, and it is fitting since he is the final boss after all. This was hell, literally. He keeps hitting me with his fire, and most of the time, I went to hell. I usually will have 1 and 2 HP. I only had 3 HP one time, which I throw away completely. And also, at that time, it was like 2 a.m. in my country, and I was extremely exhausted. So I was tired as hell, even though I wanted to beat the devil so I can god so I can fucking sleep. After 2 hours later,
Shut up! Yes! Finally. Oh my god, thank god we're done. Finally, I get to go to sleep.
I beat him. I did it. I beat Cuphead. I was able to breathe after that. And then I immediately went to aisle 2 to see how much times did I die. Which I died over 348 times. Which I'm not really sure is it good, but let me know in the comments, is that good at all? And I wanted to say this. This was a great experience. Even though I was going crazy, but that's beside the point. I still had a lot of fun. Since Cuphead is not an easy game for some people, but there is some people would think it's easy. But whatever you may think, that you cannot deny that Cuphead is one of the most classic indie games of all time.